Okay, hello. Um, Thank you for participating in this presentation. I will be going through situational awareness for while you're traveling. This training really is for really anywhere, anytime. This is an overall situational awareness training. But then later on in the presentation, I'll get into some specific things for you to have in mind when you are actually traveling. So I'm going to quickly go over some travel security tips. And this is just going to be a quick flyover view of some things I'd like you to consider. I want you to know where you're going, okay? Look at weather, so you know what to wear, what appropriate clothes to wear, what kind of crime trends are happening, know the money that you should have, local customs. Do some good research and really understand where you're going, what places to avoid, what places to go and have to eat and to have fun. By being prepared, by doing a little bit of intelligence work ahead of time, they'll help you have a better time in general. Documentation, making sure that you have photocopies of your passports, you have backup documentation, you have backup emergency contacts. These ways, if something were to happen, you have additional copies of things. When you're doing your recon or you're knowing where you're going, this will help you not be an obvious tourist, right? Knowing your route or your routes that you're going to take when you leave your hotel or your hostel or wherever. This just helps you be less of a target by looking less like an obvious tourist. Don't be task fixated. So many people, they'll be, as a tourist, they'll be just locked into their phone trying to figure out in Google Maps where to go. And that just makes it a likelihood of being targeted by somebody who's looking for an easy prey of a tourist. Be aware of your clothing and hairstyle, that it matches the area that you're supposed to be. Something as being a former military person, my haircut, having a very kind of official kind of military looking haircut, that could be bad for me going into certain places. So maybe not letting my hair letting it grow out more so it doesn't look as military or law enforcement-esque. Airport security, so knowing which airlines to select, wearing the appropriate clothing, watching out for what we call shoulder surfing. That'd be somebody who's looking for usernames and passwords and other kind of confidential information from yourself. Use the university address on your luggage and tags. Not having your home address, that's something that somebody could identify on you, and that's a way that they could start to potentially victimize you, stalk you, or steal your information. So just using, if I travel, I use my business's address with the university's address, and that's just an extra level of security, and if it gets lost, then it gets returned to Bethel. When you get to your location, remove all labels off your luggage. That just is more identifiers. Sanitize your wallet. There could be things that might be local customs that might offend other people that might be in your wallet, or things, again, that are identifiers that would help somebody, if they do get your stuff, to additionally victimize you. You can see over here my very anal way of packing my bags. I lay everything out. I make sure that I have everything that I need with me. I have my additional documentation, my watch, my cables, everything very neatly organized. Before I get on the trip, this was my bag, I think, before I went to Nepal, just making sure that it was all for my carry-on luggage. I did this with my actual bag as well. That's my carry-on. Hotel, a couple things I want you to think about if you go into a hotel. If you're a lone female, figure out ways to have additional security for yourself. So maybe if you don't want to walk to your room by yourself, asking somebody at the front desk to walk with you, or having check-in times with other people so that they just can know your comings and goings, so that you feel a little bit more secure. And if something were to happen, you have people that are able to check on you. Room security. When you're coming and going from your room, just leave your TV on. Kind of gives it an appearance that somebody might be in the room. Something that I like to do is I have little door stops that I stick into the doors if there's a suite on either side when I sleep. That gives an extra level of security. You can actually buy ones on Amazon that are little alarms, and so that if it is moved, it actually gives a high pitched alarm too. So that would wake you up in the event that somebody is trying to get in there. If somebody is knocking at the door at 2 in the morning and you weren't expecting anyone, don't answer the door. Maybe call the front desk, have somebody come and check it. If you're at some sort of conference, if you don't need to walk around with your name tags all the time, why don't you put those in your pocket? That's a good way to just, again, you're thinking about what we call operational security. What are ways to just add extra layers of protection for myself? So if you do get into a situation where you are actually in a threatening situation, I want to talk through calling law enforcement. You want to identify yourself and give a physical description of yourself. That way, when the law enforcement officers are showing up, they know who they're talking to or know who they're looking for. And that just gives them additional context of where they're going. Identify your location and the physical description of that location. Again, you have the game of telephone that's happening. You're telling the dispatcher, and the dispatcher's then relaying it to the law enforcement officer. Giving as much information that dispatcher can pass on just helps the officer find you and get to you faster. Then state the threat. What is happening in this situation? And if you got into an altercation with the person, don't say what you did. And the reason for that is being recorded. You're in a altered mental status because you have adrenaline, you have all sorts of things going on, and you need to protect yourself in the long term of what's going on. Then you need to say exactly what you need. Okay, so if it's a fire, I need a fire truck here. We have a fire at my location. Tell them exactly what you need. So here's an example. I need police and ambulance to respond to my location as I'm going into shock. I want you to repeat that, go through that 1 to 3 times. If that threat is still there, after you've said that 1 to 3 times, hang up the phone so that you can deal with that threat while they're there. And the reason that is you've said it now 3 times. The dispatcher can review that audio multiple times to be able to give it to the officer. And then you can engage with that threat if you need to. If you're trying to run away while you're talking on the phone, that is distracting you from potentially protecting yourself. If the threat isn't there and it's over, you can stay on the phone. That's fine. But if you need to actually engage with somebody, you need to just hang up the phone.